Okay, gonna read another green text. I know all you guys love me, and I know you love my voice. So, we will be reading Day of the Steak by Steak Bro. Found this on the Mulp Wiki. Link will be in the description as same as last time. I can't really say as usual. This has only been a 2-time thing. But, let's get to it. Day of the Steak. Be Anon. Be craving some steak, something you haven't had since you arrived. You mull the idea in your head before deciding on a course of action. You walk over to Sweet Apple Acres in search of Applejack, with questions in mind. You spot her working on a section of trees, bucking the trunks and knocking the apples into the baskets below. As you approach her, you call out, "Hey AJ, you got a minute?" She doesn't hear you, so you try again. "Yo, Applejack." She hears you this time and lowers her hind legs. "Howdy, Anon. What you need?" "Well, I've got a question." You carefully think through how to ask this question without disturbing her. "What is it, Anon? I've got work to do." "Well, it's now or never, and you aren't going to let her get in the way of your steaks, Jesus Christ. I was wondering, have you ever had a steak before?" The orange equine is puzzled by your question. "Say what? Steak? Don't reckon I've ever had that. Why, is it good?" Your mouth begins to water at the mere thought of describing it. "Oh, Applejack, steak is like a gift from the gods. The juices, the flavor when cooked to perfection. Umph." Applejack seems to warm up to the idea. At least her expression shows it. "Tell me, Anon, how do you make this steak?" "Oh boy, here we go. Well, that's the thing." You bend down and whisper in her ear how steak is made. She visibly pales once you mention cows. "What? No way, Anon, nuh-uh. I ain't killing none of my cows just for food." "Oh, come on, AJ, please. Please think on it. I'm dying over here." You weren't really dying, but hot damn, did steak sound like the best thing in the world right now. "Anon, do you know how hard it would be for me to do something like that?" You begin to consider the ethics of it, killing a living sentient being just for food only you've had. "Fuck it, AJ. I probably should have told you this at the start, but I need steak to live. Steak is vital food to humans' health. Time to be as convincing as possible." "Really, Anon? Something like that is what you need to live?" She turns her head away, staring out into the orchard. You can see this is starting to bother her. "No, focus on the mission here. The stakes are high." I got it. "Anon, if I help you with this, will you tell anyone?" "If it makes you feel any better, Applejack, I won't. I will not tell a single soul." Her face softens up, and she looks over towards the cow pen. "I'll go try and find you one." Oh my god. Applejack begins to walk away when you call out to her again. "Just a tip. Try to find a big one. The meat is usually better." She nods her head and continues toward the cows. Looks like the meat is back on the menu. Day of the Steak, Part 2. Sizzlin' Boogaloo. Be Anon. It's night, and you are on your way over to Sweet Apple Acres to do something you thought you'd never do. You asked Applejack to do you a favor, to pick out a nice fat cow. Ooh. Nothing more, nothing less. As you approach the barn, you see a small light inside. Applejack exits the barn, closing the door behind her. She turns around to see you. "Hey there, Anon. Are you ready to do this?" She seems nervous, shaking a little even. "Yeah, I'm ready. And I don't take pride whatsoever in what I'm about to do, but it must be done." Applejack lets out a sigh and sits down. I'll let you do what you need to do, Anon. I'll sit out here and watch for anyone. Thanks, AJ. You're a true friend, you know that? She gives you a small yet sad smile, knowing full well what's going to happen next. Oh boy. You nod and open the barn door just enough to slip inside. As you close the door behind you, you turn to see just what you got to work with. Applejack didn't skimp on the cow, that's for sure. There, lying asleep in a pile of hay, was a fat-ass cow. Like fuck, this thing was huge. You steel yourself, thinking through the motions you'll need to do to silence the cow and end its life quickly and with as little pain as possible. Searching around the room, you spot a shovel hanging on the wall. This ought to do the trick. Grabbing the shovel, you slowly approach the cow, trying not to wake it, which would send this plan to hell. Raising the shovel high above your head, you close your eyes, not wanting to see the pain this could inflict. With a mighty swing, you bring the shovel down upon the cow's head. The crunch of bone as equally loud as the metallic bang of the shovel slamming into the head. Jeez. Repeatedly, you continue this motion, raising the shovel and bringing it down hard, hopefully killing the cow. Each swing brings a flesh splatter of blood, spraying the room as well as you. With the strength of 10,000 retards, you deal the final blow to the cow, its skull horrifically crushed and brain matter scattered around the room. Applejack peers in the barn and stumbles backwards at the sight of the mangled cowhead and you, bloodied from head to toe. You see her out of the corner of your eye and turn to face her. She sprints around the side of the barn and heaves. The sight of the inside, this is darker than I expected. The sight inside too much for her to handle. You set the shovel aside and proceed to exit the barn. As the thought of what you did catches up to you, you run around the barn and vomit, shaking from the violence of the act. After you've finished, you return to the front door, just as Applejack rounds the corner. Looking at each other, it's clear that no one can know the atrocity that just occurred. So, now that that's out of the way, she looks at you weakly, not sure what to say. I'll clean this up, I swear. I just need some supplies. I can get those, sugar cube, just don't miss anything. You nod your head in agreement and turn to enter the barn. Fuck, this is messy. Oh, God. Day of the Stake, Part 3. Anon the Butcher. Cleaning that barn sucked ass. If only you hadn't been a wild and loose with the shovel swings. Last night was pretty rough all in all. Not only was killing the cow hard, but then you had to deal with the corpse, not to mention that stench. You were able to string the cow up from the rafters, hanging it upside down so you could let the blood out. There wasn't any easy way to get rid of the blood, so the best idea you had was to dig a deep, narrow hole under the cow, so as to let the blood simply drip into there. Cutting off the head was a bitch, too. So many tendons and muscles to cut through. Then there was the spine. All this work just to have steaks. You've never done so much for something as insignificant as steaks. You also had to hand it to Applebutt. She was able to keep everyone out of the barn all day, even those 3 fillies. Tonight, however, was probably going to be harder than last night. Tonight you had to cut up the cow. You knew this was the toughest part. It's dark out. Time to head over to the farm and get this done. Applejack is waiting on the porch of her home as you arrive. She hops out of the chair and gallops over to you. So, ready to almost be done with all this? Once I finish tonight, the worst is over. Her expression is somber and you can tell she's had enough. Yeah, the sooner y'all are done, the sooner I can get back to normal. You let out a small sigh, regretful for what you've put this poor pony through. I'll try to make it as quick as possible then. The two of you walk into the barn, Applejack staying outside to be on the lookout for anyone. You hurry in, wanting to be done as much as she does. Just as you instructed her earlier in the day, your tools are laid out on the nice cloth. Large carving knives, neatly organized from smallest to massive, gleam in the candlelight. You select one of the larger ones, admiring it in the light. Why on earth do tiny ponies need such large knives? Oh shit. Oh, fuck. Lost my place. Mental retardation. Okay, here we go. Not waiting on a response, you approach the hanging body of the cow, grabbing a hold of the hindquarters for a good grip. With a swift incision, you begin to cut and quarter the cow, making sure not to make a big mess of, yet not skimp on the portions either. As you make your cuts, you whistle a small tune to not seem as homicidal. You hear a few creaks, but dismiss them as the barn shifting in the wind. You finish cutting a nice piece of meat when suddenly you hear a thump, followed by a shriek. Dropping the meat, you search frantically for the source of the scream. Applejack bursts into the barn, apparently hearing the scream too. Anon, what was that? Who screamed? I don't know, AJ. I was just cutting. And there's a second shriek, and this time you hear you and Applejack both know where it came from. Slowly, you turn your heads towards the rear of the barn. A frightened Applebloom sits shaking in the corner, tears welling in her eyes. Applebloom, what are you doing out of bed? Fuck. The young filly is still stuck in the corner, crying and covering her face. Applejack lets out a long sigh and slowly makes her way over to little sister. You're still standing next to the hanging cow, knife in hand, dumbstruck over how she managed to get in her without you noticing it in here. I fucked that up. Applebloom, look at me. It's alright. Anon is just making something he needs. I know it looks scary, but you shouldn't be out here in the first place. Applebloom buries her face against her sister, sobbing hysterically. Shit, she's probably gonna be traumatized or something. Applejack looks at you and then rolls her eyes. Come on, Applebloom, let's get you inside now. She collects her little sister on her back and walks towards the door. Anon, just hurry up, okay? Yeah, I'll be done by the morning. Applejack exits the barn, leaving you alone with the cow. Poor little filly, you muttered to yourself. I'll probably have to tell her what it is she saw. That distraction aside, you continue to carve up the cow. These steaks better be better than the best goddamn steaks ever. Fuck. Day of the Steak Part 4, in which Anon's heart breaks. Last night was bad. Not only did you lose a prime cut of meat, you also traumatized Applebloom. Fortunately, the deed has been done. You got all the cuts of meat you wanted off the cow, and with Applejack's help, buried the remainder of the corpse. With the meat properly stored until the later consumption, you decide to find Applebloom and try to explain what she saw last night. Around noon, you head to Sweet Apple Acres once more. As you're near the porch, Applejack comes out of the house. I just noticed. How's Applejack? Isn't she good at telling lies? I don't know. Whatever. You stop and stand in the yard, looking at Applejack. She walks toward you, still with that somber face. You really hope you haven't screwed her up emotionally. That would be devastating. After a few minutes of standing in silence, you let out a sigh. Look, AJ, I didn't think it would get this bad. I never wanted this to happen. I just wanted my steaks. Jeez. I understand, Anon. I just can't believe Applebloom saw that last night. You both looked down at the ground, feeling uneasy as thoughts resurged, seeing Applebloom cowering in the corner, crying uncontrollably, maybe even scarred for life. Do you think I can go up and explain it myself? Try to comfort her about what she saw? She scuffs the ground with her hoof, still looking down. I suppose if and you think it'll work, I can only hope. You step up to the house, the screen door creaking as you open it. Going up the steps to the second floor, you try to imagine the scenario where this all works out. Apple Bloom's door closed. You expected as much. Knocking on the door, you grab the handle. Apple Bloom, you in here? You push the door open, revealing a slightly darkened room. You can make out a small form on the bed, bundled up in blankets. Apple Bloom, you okay, sweetie? Still no response from the shape. Fuck, this is bad. Hey, I came by to try to make sense of what you saw, or you may have seen last night. Your voice is reaching Fluttershy levels of gentleness, trying to get Apple Bloom to talk. The blanket shifts slightly on the bed and Apple Bloom rolls over, showing only her face. Her eyes are shockingly red, tears still streaming down her face. That face alone nearly breaks your heart. It's going to hurt even worse when you have to give her a lie, just like you did with AJ. Hey there. I'd ask if you were okay, but I think we both know the answer. She sniffles, looking at you through eyes that could inspire a Sarah McLaughlin commercial. Look about what you saw. You weren't supposed to see that. It was supposed to be quick, and with only me and your sister knowing about it. She begins to cough harshly, the strain of her crying taking its toll. Well, what was that in the... Okay, in the barn. Fuck, I'm bad. That's my little girl voice. Oh my god, her voice is almost non-existent. You mentally kick yourself for putting this on her. That was a cow. What you saw was the meat underneath. Her expression worsens and she looks like she's about to throw up. You grab a nearby trash bin and hand it to her, seemingly just in time. You can physically feel your heart breaking over this. After she finishes, you set the bin aside, making note to go empty it when you leave. Glancing into it, you notice it's full of apple chunks. Why are you not surprised? So, why were you doing that, Anon? This is gonna hurt you a lot more than it's going to hurt her. You see, Apple Bloom, humans need steak to live. Steak is vital to human survival. Steak comes from cows, so that's why I was doing that to the cow. Her expression turns to one of weak bewilderment. You mean you gotta eat cow to live? What happens if you don't? Oh shit, you didn't quite plan on what if. Well, we die. If I don't eat steak, then I will die. Brilliant. That was the best thing you could come up with. Everyone's face softens a bit, going through everything you just told him. I guess that's okay then, if you need it to live. She sits up in a bed and hugs you. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, your heart can take much more. Do you think you'll be fine, Apple Bloom? I know something like that can be hard to handle emotionally. She nods her head, giving you a bit of reassurance. Could you tell my sister to come up here? I want to talk to her. You give her a small smile, trying to bring her spirits up. Sure thing, kiddo. Standing up to leave, she pulls the blankets back and snuggles into her bed. You make it down to the porch, where Applejack is sitting. How'd she take it, Sugar Cube? Is she okay? Yeah, I think she'll be fine. I hope so, anyway. I'm so sorry for exposing you to this. I hope you can forgive me for all that's happened. She rears up and embraces you, nuzzling your chest. I think I can forgive you for this, Anon. Besides, I'm kinda itching to try steak now for myself. Oh boy. Her face lightens up, giving you a smile you haven't seen in a few days. So am I, AJ. So am I. Day of the Steak, Part 5. We have to cook. Finally, the day you get to have your fucking steak. It's evening, and you decided it's best to invite only one other guest to Sweet Apple Acres for a cookout. You constructed a rudimentary grill consisting of brick and mortar. Working with Twilight, you were able to hook up a propane tank because you want to be able to taste the meat, not the heat. Donning your apron, you ignite the grill and throw down the steaks. The scent of sizzling meats fills the air, and Twilight wanders over to the grill. Twilight, being ever so curious, looks at the steaks intently. So what is this exactly, and, what should I do for Twilight? So what is this exactly, Anon? I don't think I've ever seen food like this before. Well, Twilight, these are steaks, and they will be delicious. She gives you a puzzled look. This means she's about to ask you a question you'd rather not answer. Where do steaks come from? And there it is. Oh, well, steaks, they come from, You lean over and whisper in her ear the horrible secret. You also tell her not to panic because you don't want to startle Appleboom again. Mouth agape, she falls back on her haunches, sitting down. Yeah, I thought that happened. Trust me. It's going to be the best thing you've ever eaten. I'm sure. Still sitting there aghast, you let out a small chuckle and continue cooking. Hot damn, are those steaks smelling good? You pride yourself on your ability to cook a steak. A few minutes later, you remove the steaks from the grill. Steam is wafting off the freshly done meat slabs. Mouth running like a waterfall, you pile the steaks on a plate and take them to the small table, where Twilight and the Apple sisters are waiting. You place a steak onto each plate, letting the scent work its magic with the ponies. I reckon this is the mightiest, best smelling thing I've ever smelled, Anon. Yeah, that's the magic of steak. Twilight perks up at the mention of magic. Do these steaks contain magic properties? You give her your best, are you fucking retarded look. She grins shyly and levitates her fork and knife into steak cutting position. The Apple sisters follow suit, gripping the knife in their mouths and attempting a cutting-like motion. You just fucking manhandle the steak like a champ and begin ripping chunks out of it. The others look at you with bewilderment and minor disgust. Ignoring them, you keep at your steak like a madman, barely slowing down to savor each bite. Goddamn, the steak is magnificent. Twilight is the first to break her gaze away from your terrible eating manners. She cuts off a small square and examines it. Looking up from your steak, you offer her some advice. Just eat it. I promise it's safe. It's even healthy for you. She apprehensively eats the piece, chewing slowly as to get a feel for the texture and the juices. It finally feels like an eternity watching her chew that one piece. Finally, she swallows. Her pupils visibly dilate. Twilight drops her silverware, still staring out into nothing. You wave your hand in front of her face. Of course, you to Twilight. Hey, how is it? A small grin starts on her face, gradually widening from ear to ear. Oh boy, she likes it. Twilight. It's gonna end up with fucking cows are gonna be the slave race. They're gonna be sent out to be slaughtered. Twilight? She greedily picks back up her fork and knife, chainsawing into that steak with a fury you've never seen. The Apple sisters have sat silently, watching Twilight's expression as an indicator. Both of them hack a piece of steak off and eat it. Surprisingly, both of them react exactly like Twilight did. All three were eagerly eating their steaks, seeming to love this newfound food. Looks like the steaks are a hit with them. And everyone finishes. Twilight sits back, a look of ecstasy on her face. Anon, that was amazing. How come you never told anyone before? You weren't ready for a question like that. If you need the steaks to survive, how did you survive for so long without it? Oh dear. You'd been here maybe 2 years now? Time flies when you're surrounded by tiny pastel ponies. I was running out of time before I needed to eat it. I didn't want to get desperate, but I'm thankful Aze helped me out when she did. The orange equine blushed at the mention. Oh, shucks, Anon. We didn't want you to die on us now, did we? What about the cow? The other two ponies shake their heads. Thanks, AJ. You went through a lot for me. I don't know how I'll ever be able to repay you this kindness. She grins at you, happy to help. Twilight excuses herself to leave, and everyone else gets up at the same time. You walk with Twilight down the road to farm towards Ponyville, ready to go home. Thanks for inviting me, Anon. I'm glad I could be part of your culture. She gives you a hug and sets off to the treeberry. You better not write about this in a letter Celestia here. This is between the apples and you and me. She seems not to hear you, but you shrug it off. Something as harmless as a steak wasn't letter to the princess material. You're just glad you finally got that steak. Life will go back to normal. Day of the steak, part epilogue. Genocidal boogaloo, and I'm probably right. You were dead. Fucking wrong when you thought life would go back to normal. You shouldn't have put that idea into Twilight's head either. She did go home that night and write that letter. Celestia did receive it and summon you to cancel it. And now here you are in the royal kitchen, all by yourself, with the steaks. These goddamn steaks. Twilight hyped up the steaks so much that not even the princess herself could resist. And she fucking brought Luna too. Whatever, it's just a few steaks, that's it, no more. Once again, you have Twilight's help in setting up a propane grill in the kitchen because, fuck yeah, propane accessories. The steaks are almost done. You hope you cook them to perfection. Piling them up on a silver platter, you brace yourself for what's about to happen next. You never did think you'd be in this spot, cooking for the royal sisters. Whatever, you're cool. Being as flamboyant as possible, you burst into the dining hall, putting on a nice little show for the princesses. Fuck yeah, nailed that little routine. You approach the table and place a steak elegantly in front of the ponies. Bon appetit, merci. I'm not French. Must seem retarded. Grabbing your own plate of steak, you take a seat opposite to Celestia and Luna. You then go the proper steak eating techniques and how not to fuck it up. Grasping the basic concepts, both Celestia and Luna begin to eat. Here it is, the moment of truth. You may or may not die if this goes wrong. After a few bites, Celestia is the first to speak. Oh my. This is heavenly. Anon, how do you do it? This is, I dare say, the best meal I've ever had in my lifetime. I can't do so. Oh, sweet Jesus, she likes it. That's a huge weight off your shoulders. Luna, what do you think of it? She seems more apprehensive of it, taking her time with the steak. Celestia devours the rest of her steak, even stealing a piece from Luna's unfinished slab. Sister, we were not quite finished with our steak. You were eating too slow. Besides, this is amazing. Anon, could you make more for me? Oh fuck. Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. You really hope she wouldn't say that. You really want more, princess? She frantically nods her head. Yes. Yes, I must have more of this delicious steak. Delicious cake. Great. Now you have to give her the talk. Oh. Luna slides her plate over to Celestia, who eagerly takes it. Anon, we are indifferent about your meal. Our sister, however, seems to covet it. Celestia is just at this point making loud chewing noises with her steak. Luna takes her leave, sticking you to deal with Princess Celestia. Oh gods, Anon, tell me, what is in this steak? Don't say cow, don't say cow, don't say cow. Cow meat. Fuck. Her expression holds, as if this revelation doesn't faze her at all. You did hear what I said, right? Yes. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get more. Oh, fuck. Damn the consequences. I want more. You do realize that in order to make this, a living, sentient creature has to die, right? Anon, let me tell you something. Once you live for a long enough time, you learn to look the other way on certain issues. Okay. Well, excuse me, princess. Hello, Link. I didn't know you were in this story. Anon, I want you to tell me exactly how steak is made. We're going to share this with all of Equestria, nay, the world. She stands up and begins to walk towards the door. Come along, Anon. We are going to give the gift of steak to everyone. Not one to disobey a princess who could wipe you out of existence at any given moment. You hurriedly follow after her. Not more than a week passes when Celestia begins to round up all the healthy, meaty cows she can find, sending them to a facility where they will all be eventually turned into the food craze that you helped start. You monster. You're actually impressed by the setup she's established. You're also horrified that you brought the idea of a slaughterhouse to Equestria. You are called to the main office of the factory by Celestia herself. As you arrive at the door, you see that Celestia has made herself the boss of this company. Fantastic. Celestia, how many cows did you end up getting? Oh, I don't recall. I think we may have ended up getting all of them. Your stomach drops at the idea. All of them? Every single cow in Equestria? She ponders over her thoughts. Yes, I do believe so. We can't just turn all of them into steak now, can we? We have to leave some alive to breed with. How else are we going to keep making steaks? The room starts to spin at the reality of what is happening. You fall down on the leather couch, trying to collect yourself. Leather couch? This can't be really happening. Can it? Celestia lets out a hearty laugh, amused by your reaction. You wanted steak, Anon, so steak is what you'll get. She walks out of the room, going to check on the production line. You start to regain your composure when the biggest reality check hits you in the face. It is thanks to you that the cows will now live enclosed-in camps, waiting to be slaughtered. The cows have essentially lost their basic rights as sentient beings. It's another Holocaust, okay? You were literally Hitler, and thanks to you, you just condemned an entire race to be turned into food. Steak suddenly doesn't sound too good. Oy vey, at least they're not being turned into lampshades, Goyim. That was fun. Little Holocaust, little ditty. That was by Steak Bro. I guess this is the only story he wrote. This is oddly amusing, a bit morbid, fun. Alright. Catch you later.